Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on another episode of today's Agree to Disagree show here on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Yes, it has. We are one day after LeBron James and the Lakers have been bounced and swept from the Western Conference Finals, and he's now mulling retirement. Of course, has nothing to do with current events other than it is a current event, but it's not a relevant current event other than the fact that I'm a big sports guy. I wear Cleveland gear and I like those teams. So I digress, but it is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023 for future reference. Should you find this in a time capsule somewhere and try to figure out what the heck was going on at this time in the world. So here's what's going on at this time in the world. By the way, my name's Brian Engelman, and this guy down here is Blake Walley. You can find him at thenextlevelnews.com and on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. Today, we are going to discuss the following subjects. We're going to talk about Kari Lake. What comes next? We're going to break down what she proved, what her legal team proved. And by the way, I'm going to read a dictionary in 3 seconds. Ready? Do you remember that it was from Family Guy? I think it was Peter. He said all the letters of the alphabet in 1 second. He goes, bap. That's how quick the people were tippity, just tapping to approve all of these vote tablet, to tabulate the votes and comparing and contrasting the signature verification. Totally legit, totally verifiable, totally reviewable. Any sporting event, if you're able to watch the replay in slow motion and he got both of his feet in bounds, that's a catch. Or, oh, look at that, he was out of bounds, that's incomplete. If you can't review an election, hey, here we are. Where do we go from here? I don't know who still has faith in this process, but we will break it down because it is one of the biggest stories going on in the world right now. The other one, of course, is just trying to unpack what comes next, because this was just the beginning of the matrix of lies, where a weaponized FBI was used and really rolled out in a plan to destroy a sitting president. This is unprecedented. Where does this go next? So a lot of these stories today, we're trying to figure out what happens next. Now we've learned what we've learned. What do we do with it? If there's not faith in the system, I don't really know where we're supposed to go. So these are the stories we're going to unpack on today's program, along with, Barack Obama and his team really, really pushing this white supremacist thing that, this is the biggest deal. Pterodactyls are everywhere. Pterodactyls. Aren't there pterodactyls everywhere you go? They're at the mall. They're at Trader Joe's. There's pterodactyls everywhere. They are obsessed with trying to pin white people as demonic and just incessantly putting this out there that white supremacists are the biggest threat to... And you might say, no, Brian, Joe Biden's the president. He's the one in office. Sure, buddy. This dude is a meat puppet. He's just being told what to do in his earpiece. He don't even know what day of the week it is, folks. So, yeah, there was a truck that crashed at the White House. Oh, my God. We found these perfect passports. We found their passports completely intact. It reminds me of a post 9/11. I was sifting through the rubble, and we found, oh, look at this, all these perfect passports. Sure you did. We're also going to talk about Dodger Stadium. This is what happens when you mix politics and sports. Good Lord, you start scrambling those eggs up with all sorts of stuff. We're going to wonder if the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence should be invited back, because everything's got to be politicized these days. And then we're going to look at our buddy Elon Musk. Is he bought and paid for by communist China? All these stories and more will be coming up on today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show. Here comes the intro. All right, everybody, welcome back. Yeah, so Blake, I'm thinking we probably need like a shortened version of the intro for our Spotify crew when they're listening on podcast form, because that's just 90 seconds of nothing happening, or we do a voiceover over top of it. Just a couple of ideas, not really sure, but yeah, make sure you're following us on Spotify. We have a new podcast, the Agree to Disagree Show. We need numbers over there, and Rumble. Find us The New American Media as well. Blake, how goes it, sir?
Very well, Brian. It's great to be here.
Yes, great to have you. Yes. Let's jump into it, man. Like there's so much stuff going on. I want to talk about Kari Lake. I want to talk about Arizona. I want to talk about the election system, and I want to talk about the ability or lack thereof to run a full forensic audit so that we can have confidence in what we're talking about. I likened the situation to that of a sporting event. It could be basketball. Football is kind of what I had in mind. I think football might be the best for reviewing plays. Baseball and basketball, maybe you check to see if a foot was on the line, but mainly it's touchdown catches. Did he stay in bounds and stuff like that? Did the ball hit the ground? Did it move? Regardless of how these things turn out, and I think we may be headed for the Supreme Court, but once again, we thought this was going to happen 2 years ago, and that didn't happen. So I'm done holding my breath. I have no more hopium in my life, Blake. I have no more plan to trust. If there's anything going on, this is the time to, hello, if you're there, make yourself known, please. It's kind of dire, do or die, life or death here. It's really important. So regardless of how this shakes out, if it's the review and verification of the full forensic audit that is really most importantly at play with our electoral process right now. If you can't easily go to the replay and look at what happened, then I don't think you have any confidence in what the referees are calling on the field or the results of the game. So, Blake, why don't you take it away, sir? Kind of give us an update and kind of walk us through, like, where are we at with Kari Lake in Arizona now? Like, what is the latest? I thought a lot of people had some hope here. It seemed obvious with what Kari Lake was bringing to the court that, okay, well, there's clear issues here. And the judge goes, nah.
Yeah, they're bringing some interesting evidence to trial and showcasing it, and it looks shocking, but then it gets tossed out. So it's trying to find somebody who's going to allow them to show all the evidence. And they're bringing this argument. Was the signature verification. They have about 274,000 ballots. This is, I forget how many votes decided this election. It was 10,000, 12,000, not too many. A very slim margin in a race where at one point Kari Lake was up by 11 points. And even the liberal media was laughing at Katie Hobbs for not campaigning, not debating, not doing anything. But she was.
Well, and that was, Blake, that was the Biden strategy as well. That was, I'm not saying they were.
Right.
I love this thing where we got to say things that we're not saying and couch them in ways that don't let on what we're saying. But like the actions of a Joe Biden or a Katie Hobbs are identical to the actions of somebody who would theoretically knew that the election was in the bag. It was predetermined. And you don't need to go out and campaign. You don't need to go out and do anything. You sit at home. You don't debate. You do as little as possible. You don't get to show how unpopular you are with your empty areas. And then guess what? Oh, yeah, they win. Like it just defies logic. So their actions of not actively participating in the electoral process the last time around, they do match exactly what it would look like if they were told, don't worry, it's in the bag. Just don't do anything. You don't need to. You don't have to try. You don't have to try to shoot shots. The score will balance out at the end.
Yeah, exactly. They've mastered the art of running an election. It's very efficient, very easy. Well, there's a lot to it, and there's potentialities of things backfiring badly.
Oh, one more thing, Blake, before I take you off track here. Again, I think you're supposed to go to cisa.gov/rumor control if you want to hear what the government and Katie Hobbs want you to know. If you want to hear official versions of what YouTube wants you to know, go to cisa.gov/rumor control, because remember it used to be a thing, like George Bush didn't win and hanging chads in Florida and all the Democrats were able to question elections. That used to be a thing, but I guess Democrats can question the validity of election, but Republicans can't, or libertarians can't.
Yeah, so it's a double standard, and yeah, they've been getting away with this, and it's not really healthy for a democracy, and it's something that usually happened in other countries and not here. But this is in the last few years, especially after the COVID lockdowns. I mean, people have had their questions about some of the machinery and how things are audited, which they don't really want you to see. But went on a whole new level in 2020, and then of course in 2022 with the mail-in, the balloting in Arizona, and which worked well for the Katie Hobbs team. And so they're trying to verify if some of these signatures are even legitimate, and it shows that out of 200, so almost over 250,000 votes, that they took just a few seconds to verify that they were legit. So they're obviously not taking the proper amount of time to inspect these, and that was the argument that the attorney for Kari Lake brought up. So
now, I also saw side by sides. Were there side by sides presented where they clearly aren't even remotely the same signature, and that was obvious? I saw some of that going on. I don't know how much of that was presented.
I know that's happened with the cyber ninjas, and they showed examples of how the signatures shouldn't match, but they were being accepted anyway. So yeah, the election was called by 17,000 votes. I wasn't sure if it was 10, 11. That was in 2020 for Maricopa with Trump and Biden, who got a record 81 million. But yeah, Kari Lake was a huge favorite in this race, and then all the machinery had problems in Maricopa, and then there was
the machinery didn't have problems. The machinery was reset, correct? Somebody manually changed the dimensions of the paper.
They changed it so they weren't being tabulated, and it was delaying the machines. They weren't able to accept the ballots. It caused a jam. It caused long lines. It was all by design, and then a lot of people that were in line left. So
that's the main takeaway there, is that people who were in line left. Because it's like, well, if you wait longer, you wait longer. It doesn't change the votes. I mean, I would never leave a line if I were voting. I couldn't imagine.
Well, you might.
I guess there's a long line today. I got to go.
Well, yeah, that's for you. But for people that are on their way to work or what have you, or if they were in line for too long and they didn't know what was happening, because nobody knew why, but it all happened in Maricopa, not in any of the other places. So,
and I wondered, I strongly wondered, and it didn't make sense to me how Sheriff Joe Arpaio was removed in Maricopa. He seemed incredibly popular. He was tough on crime, which meant he was protecting the citizens of the area, and he got voted out, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And they put in one of the George Soros hand sheriffs over there. So yeah, they got their man in. They did not like Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and they made quite the effort to get rid of him, and then put in one of their guys. And then now it looks like they're they have some interesting people that are in Maricopa meddling around with the elections, and it's really hard to get straight answers there. And so a lot of things.
Well, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was, he had that same energy that the guy down in El Salvador has. It's like, whoever the bad people are, lock them up, hold them there. No, we're not dumping you back on the streets. We're going to keep rounding you up. We're going to keep we're going to fill these jails. We're going to have you out in chain gangs. You're going to be out there working. You're going to be sleeping in tents. You're going to be drinking water and eating a hot dog. Like there's no frills. There's no, that's how criminals should be treated. Criminals should, if you can't get along with the people around you, you start to forfeit your right to hang around those people, meaning you become incarcerated and you stay there if you can't get your act together. I mean, it's worked wonders in El Salvador to remove the constant violence and property theft, and just, you know, it's such a tiny percentage of people that cause almost all the problems everywhere. All you got to do is lock them up. And Sheriff Joe was really strong on that. It didn't make sense to me how someone like that could get voted out, despite the fact that Obama was going after him hard. So I just, is Arizona really a lost cause? Are they as liberal as San Francisco? Have they gone nutty, or has it been completely overrun? Are they under enemy control? Have they been seized by what a foreign country, by traitors, by
cartels?
By who?
Perhaps but it's a possibility that the cartel is invaded there. There's allegations, and when you look at some of these election results and some of the shenanigans going on there, it's certainly a possibility, and it has been accused, and has the story kind of disappeared, but it is set to wonder. And as you say, our bio is also tough on illegal aliens. But now it's not. Now we've got an open border crisis. So some people think it might be the Sinaloa cartel, and there's a lot of big money there. And people have watched Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, and it's not that difficult to bribe officials if they really needed to get their agenda and keep the open border and have their people. And I'm not saying it is, but it's certainly worthy of an investigation. We can't afford to have that taking place here in America. It's.
By the way, I'm one of the people. If you have Netflix, no, I haven't canceled it yet. And we'll get to cancellation and one of those stories coming up later with the Target story. But I was one of the people who started binging Better Call Saul after watching Breaking Bad. I waited until it was done. Normally, I don't watch series until they're completed, and got through Better Call Saul, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Okay, wait, no spoilers. I have not finished the last season yet. So
no, that's all I'm gonna say. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And then it was done. I'm like, done? Where's the final season? Netflix didn't give the final season. So for like a year, 9 months or something, almost a year, I'm just sitting here going, no, I'm not gonna pay for A&E. I'm already paying for friggin' Netflix. I'm not gonna get A&E, whatever. It finally came back on. So on Netflix, you can watch the final season now. So I'm 1 or 2 episodes into the final season. That's all I was getting at. I won't.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I'm about 8 episodes. I got two left. So,
okay, you're ahead of me then. You're ahead of me, but
right.
But yeah. So anyway, just a caveat for you Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul fans out there. But yeah, man. So Kari Lake, one of the main things that her attorneys and her team said was, in less than 3 seconds, someone is approving this stuff. That's not enough time to really compare. And it's really like that bird that has like the counterbalanced weight, and it just keeps pecking, and it just kind of like they showed video of a guy just going like this, just tippy tap 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 tap. Like that's not thinking. That is ramming through a big pile of bullshit potentially. That's not doing the job. And it also said that there were a lot of people who were doing this job remotely with no oversight, right? And who's able to correct and validate? What is the process of who is the advisory board where Democrats can question the ones that the Republicans approved and the Republicans can question the ones that the liberals have approved? What is that process? I mean, people are doing this with no supervision at home on top of just going like this.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it was even some of the officials. So that's very wrong about all of it. So there are people verifying signatures. 11 of the verification workers approved 170,000 signatures at a rate of less than 0 in 3 seconds, with a 99.97% approval rating. And there was about 274,000 together verified in less than 3 seconds.
Okay, now, all right. Let's say this.
Yeah.
If I were quickly tapping every time the screen
you were saying here, Brian, because this is off of your Twitter feed. I've seen plenty of these in Vegas. This is a slot tournament. It's really embarrassing and pathetic, but they host them quite frequently. There's zero skill. It's 100% luck. And well, depending on how fast you can tap that button, and maybe you'll hit a jackpot and win. But yeah, very similar to what the signature process. So it's supposed to, the computer's supposed to show you, the official signature and the signature that was on the ballot, and the person is supposed to verify whether that looks like that's the real signature or not. Not experts. I don't know if they actually passed a test or not. It's not like the guy on Pawn Stars who checks out the autographs or what have you. But they have to do a decent job of making sure that everything is authentic and that there weren't just ballots being harvested. But of course, they had incentive to win, and
okay, so obviously, let's pause there for a second. So obviously that video is off of the Twitter feed. Follow us. We're at American_media_ on Twitter. that is obviously footage of a bunch of grandparents just playing the penny slots. Ding, 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 ding. Just tap, 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 tap. That's not actual footage. Now, that being said, what I was starting to get to was if I had to hit a button, Y or N, and I just keep hitting it, and every time I see the color green, I tap the button and I just keep going because it's all green. Let's imagine that all of these were approval quality. Where are these 270,000 ballots, and have we reviewed them to see how many are wrong?
Yeah, that would be great if they could do that. That's kind of what you're saying, is that we should be able to review this kind of stuff. With the race is that close, within 17,000, and all of these weird things happened, yeah, you'd think we could take an extended look, that maybe this isn't enough time to verify all these signatures, and perhaps maybe some of the people that were counting the signatures were compromised. Yeah, they work from home, or they might have had a bias in this.
So were they able to review those 270,000 that were all approved in less than 3 seconds?
No,
did anyone get to do that?
No, they were just counted. That's it. And so that's the case that they're bringing up in front of the judge and saying there's no way that they could do that in less than 3 seconds apiece.
Well, there's no way that a judge could say that this is totally valid if they don't have a chance to review that. That seems very shady. That
it does very shady. Well, they've thrown away a lot of stuff. None of the courts took away, any of these election problems with Trump or with Kari Lake. So they might hear it and then they throw it out. So now they got to do another appeal.
So where does this go next? Where does this go next? Is this an Arizona Supreme Court, or this was already in the Arizona Supreme Court?
I am not 100% on that one. So,
because there was hope.
It's Maricopa County Superior Court. So there's still
okay. So now there's a state Supreme Court that this could go to.
I don't know. I'm definitely not a legal expert here. I don't know what's next. I just know they heard the case. It's been thrown out again, and they're going to appeal it again, and we'll see what happens from there.
So then maybe it goes to the United States Supreme Court, at which point, what? They're just going to ignore it too? Like, if nobody's in charge of the elections, then what elections do we even have? Like, you can't tell me.
Right.
I just, and I went through this. I heard this was 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I heard people saying, that Barack Obama guy, he wasn't even born in the U.S. He's ineligible to run for president.
Right, doing the birth certificate, the forensic audit, or the forensic look at it.
And so I'm like, okay, well, that's stupid. That can't be a thing. So I started making calls. I started sending emails. I started connecting with people. I'm like, hey, I called the Republican Party, the Democrat Party. I called the Electoral College. I called the state of Hawaii. I called the birth records place. I have pages and probably 25 pages of notes. I haven't looked at the notes in a while. 15 to 25 pages, I would guess. Easy. And the more I called people, the more I realized that nobody was in charge of verifying the actuality of the basic minimum requirement to participate in that contest. Nobody actually had the buck stop with them. Like the closest we got was
Sheriff Joe
I think
Arpaio doing the forensic investigation.
well, the closest I got was the office of the person in Hawaii that said that they saw the records, but they would not release those so that we could all see them. And what they said that they had verified was a certificate of live birth and not an actual birth certificate. My could be wrong here, but my understanding was a certificate of live birth was to just document that a human existed at a particular moment, not that it was given birth to at that location. It's just saying, yes, this person exists as of this day, but this person already existed and got a certificate of live birth, not a birth certificate. I may or may not have all of the data on that accurately, but when you start calling the Republicans and Democrats and you're like, because remember, John McCain was also somebody who said, oh, well, he wasn't born in the United States either. He's not eligible. And you're like, hold on, we got two people who weren't born in the US who are not eligible to run for president, allegedly running for president. Now, his case was he was the child of a serviceman. So if he was birthed on a boat or abroad to two U.S. parents, that definitely is a natural born U.S. citizen. But anyway, it just got into the weeds with all this legal mumbo jumbo. But the more you called and said, well, okay, well, so who's in charge? Nobody was actually in charge. So I think what we need is some sort of electoral. And I mean, Blake, this has got to probably be causing a constitutional crisis. There's got to be something. There has to be some sort of advisory board. There has to be some sort of check and balance on our elections. You can't just outsource this to some agency. I don't care who it is and who sued Fox. I don't give a damn about any of these companies. I don't trust anybody with anything. You know, very few things should be trusted at face value. It's all in the oversight. Go to the replay and take a look at it. Is everybody making the tabulations? Are they being recorded 24/7? Are all of the doors what's wrong with the paper ballots? Why can't we just do boxes of paper ballots that you can just, okay, well, here, we're going to do a recount, and you do a recount. This isn't complicated. Like,
how are these people going to get elected without all that, with all that integrity? You're being naive, Brian. I don't know.
That's
Why
my
wouldn't
point.
they want that stuff? Right. And then who's going to set it up? Yeah, well, it's not constitutional. We need to make this more transparent for the American people. Then they wouldn't win. Maybe.
That's my point.
Right.
That's what I want.
That's what we all want. But I don't know who's going to put that in place, especially the people that have used it to their advantage and don't want to get voted out. That'd be like Stalin putting that out. Like, wow, let's just make it. I got nothing to worry about. Let's just let everybody have a free and fair election with paper ballots, and we'll hand count them, and everyone will know. We'll have different sides. Make sure we get audited a few times. No.
Wasn't that Saddam Hussein and Kim Jong-un who had 100%? 100% of the votes went for them when they would run their elections. 100%. Okay, yeah, and the quote is, it doesn't matter who you vote for, all that matters is who counts. So yeah, Blake, do you agree or disagree that Kari Lake should continue her fight in this Arizona election?
Absolutely.
Or she should just give up? It's over.
Keep doing it. Keep going. I think it's great until you can't anymore. And then I don't know.
Yeah, and then at that point, where do you go?
I don't want to leave Arizona if it's completely compromised, and if it's actually full of dirty money. Might be time to go. It's not safe there. Open borders and compromised politicians.
What a nightmare. How asleep at the switch did people have to be to allow things to get to this point? I remember after 9/11, it was like, hold on, wait, the people are, we got to have security measures and advance this and that. And they're talking about the border and how easy it was to cross. I'm like, it's easy to cross the border? Like, I'm working in bars and restaurants. I'm like, you can't even cross into my bar without showing an ID, paying a cover charge. and getting a wristband and a hand stamp and walking in. That's like 4 layers to get into a nightclub, but you can just waltz into the country. You got to be kidding me. Like I was just blown away by the incompetence of it all. The fact that that's the system that we had. I just had assumed that it was under control, but I guess not. I just assumed that somebody's in charge of checking birth certificates back in, 2008 to make sure that's all. Oh, the more you ask questions, the weirder it gets. And I just assumed that elections had a verification process where anything disputed, and look, any election could or should be disputed. Just take a look, go back and retabulate. There's laws on the books that say you can't destroy the data. It's supposed to stay there for 17 months or this or that. There's different restrictions per county, this, that, per state. I just, with all of these problems, where's the recount? Where's the full forensic audit? Where is it? That should, a full forensic audit should be available to everybody anywhere at any time, and it should be run as a matter of course to weed out any problems in the meantime.
Yeah, you would think so, but like going back to the audit of Arizona, they never got all of the information from Dominion, which is interesting because now we got this story here from the Dominion CEO predicting that voting machine company's demise. Our business ultimately goes to zero. This is coming after they just got a gigantic $787 million lawsuit from Fox News in their victory. And they still think that, they're pessimistic about their future. They're done. They're going to get beat out by the other companies. But I mean, even if it sounds staggering that they're so worried that like they got slandered by Fox that people aren't going to use their software. But if people wanted to use their software about how great it was. I don't think in Cyber Ninjas, if they would have turned over all of the data, which they look like they deleted, that would go a long ways to establish trust with the public. But I don't know who these these software companies are. They've had problems with these. They've had documentaries about how you can tamper with these machines, and we've seen these come into question a number of times. And they're not foolproof. They're not above scrutiny, and it makes it worse when they're trying to to hide the information from people. So there's no reason to trust these companies. So I don't really care if they do go out of business. And they've got another one, Smartmatic, which has also got a $2.7 billion defamation suit against Fox News. That's still going. I don't know why they would have settled with this company when there was.
Makes no sense. And Runback is another one too, right?
Yeah, Runback is exclusive to Arizona, and they count the ballots. And they were bringing in trucks of ballots to the company, but they weren't getting the full chain of custody to say, how many ballots are coming from where, and then is everything being accounted for, or are there some ballots leaving? Like, there's got to be oversight.
Aside from any of the particular companies, if you can't verify chain of custody, it's spoiled. If you leave a medicine that's supposed to be cold out in the sun, it's gone. If you lose chain of custody, it's no longer valid. I'm not talking about just this election system. This is anything. Like when there's anything sensitive, if you can't verify chain of custody, it's a do-over at least, or you throw those out. There's no way you can continue with those. They've been spoiled. You've had a contaminated batch. E. coli has gotten into your lettuce field. Okay, well, you lost chain of custody on it. Shit, I guess we got to dump the whole truck full of cabbage, don't we? I mean, that has nothing to do with any of these companies in particular. It's just a basic standard 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah, you would think, but they got a different set of rules there. And then the Secretary of State oversaw her own election. And it took like 2 weeks.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah, no, this is all third world country BS. But it was allowed to happen, and they're still fighting it. So there you go. So I think she's got to keep up this fight, because everything has been, unusual about this election. every little aspect that they're looking at. It should scream this. And if people watch this in a movie, if they weren't, set on whatever they want to believe here, if you just saw this in a movie, you'd think this is like over the top ridiculous. How obvious
it's
it was
over the
that
top
something
ridiculous
was going on. That clearly that there was ulterior motives at play. We'll say. Going to be careful about this because I already have a channel suspended right now on its second strike for talking about these possibilities. They don't want you to discuss these. Not supposed to talk about it, but we have to. This is too important. This is a threat to our democracy if we can't trust the elections, and we're just asking for transparency. Just asking for, a replay, a recount. That way everybody can accept the results. But when you're clearly there's problems and you're telling people, nope, you can't question that. Nope, can't talk about that or you'll get censored. I mean, it just seems like the fix is in. But perhaps I'm wrong, and I'm okay to be wrong. And so, yeah, check the government stats. I don't care. Go look at the Katie Hobbs campaign. I don't care. I don't mind being wrong. It's fine. I want to be able to be at peace with things. Fine, Kari loses. Then we find out what went wrong, and we go to the drawing board and find out how we get more patriot, candidates elected. But when you see this run back and the signatures and all the other weird things that have happened in Maricopa County, it's clearly things don't look fair. They're not transparent, and people should have a right to question that until they can show that and to assuage our concerns, which they don't want to do.
We have to be able to go to the replay and take a look in slow motion. So when you see these things, you need to be able to double check them, and it looks like that is not being provided to us. All right, Blake, yes, make sure you visit cisa.gov/rumor control because the big tech underlords really want you to know that information. Once again, George W. Bush was not a legitimate president. Remember that? Al Gore hanging chads. Donald Trump, completely an illegitimate president. Guess what? Putin did it. And hookers and P-tapes and collusion. Remember that? We heard that nonstop for years and years. But when we see obviously shady stuff, we're not supposed to talk about it.
Yep.
This is fucking ridiculous, Blake.
Yep. Double standard.
Double standard. All right. Let's move on to the next topic because there's plenty to talk about today.
All right.
I don't know what happened there. I hit one that I thought was a
I put all the default clips again, and it overwhelmed me. We had trouble finding all of our stingers.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, how about this one, Blake? Next topic. Watergate and Obamagate. The cover-up is worse than the crime. Agree or disagree, Blake? The cover-up is worse than the crime when it comes to Watergate and Obamagate.
It certainly appears that way now that we've seen what the Durham report has come out, and we've seen historically with Watergate. So I'm actually going to take us to a article I found out of American Thinker. This is where it comes from. Obama. The cover-up was worse than the crime. So two enduring F-formisms emerged from the Watergate affair, both directed at then President Richard Nixon. The one at the outset of the investigation was delivered in the form of a question, what did he know and when did he? And the second came at the end in the form of a warning to future presidents. The cover-up is worse than crime. Thanks to the Durham report, we know the date then President Barack Obama learned about what Durham calls the Clinton intelligence plan. And according to John Brennan's notes, the date was, here, mark it there, Brian, August 3rd of 2016. And I guess that was the day when CIA Director John Brennan briefed Obama and the other key players about Hillary Clinton and their little dirty campaign trick against Donald Trump, stirring up a scandal, claiming interference by Russian security services. So they're saying, to be fair, Obama likely didn't have a role in the orchestration of the Clinton intelligence plan, similar to Richard.
Bullshit.
Hold on a
Bullshit.
second, right? Richard Nixon did not actually literally bug, the DNC headquarters in Watergate in 1972. But he did play the critical role in the cover-up of the Clinton intelligence plan. So, yes, Brian, I do agree. He probably did. This is all cooked up. But the main thing is that what they can definitely say, we can't say exactly what his role was masterminding it, but we could say that he was the guy in position and power who could prevent the investigation from happening. This could not have happened without him. He is obviously a key player, but this probably came from DNC, Hillary, and John Brennan. So
once I use this analogy all the time, it's scrambled eggs.
Right.
I don't know how you unscrambled Obama's Secretary of State from John Brennan, the CIA, the FBI, all the alphabet agencies. They're scrambled eggs. They're all the same to me. I take your point. Sure, it was cooked up, but Trump went to those same organizations and said, "Look, we have information that Hillary is trying to run a fake smear campaign." They told them about what was happening. They made a counter complaint about what they knew was happening, and that was all brushed off and then deleted. I'm sure you're working your way up to that part, right? Where they deleted all the information from their investigation now under the watch of Biden.
Well, it just, when they lost, it just kind of showing the absurdity of like, imagine Nixon blaming Watergate on Cuba. Say several Cubans were in fact arrested, they would have laughed him out of office. However, Obama can blame the Russians because he's friendly with the FBI, the intelligence community, and the media. So he can pull that off and just say, hey, yeah, it must have been the Russians colluding. They were trying to help Trump. But that was a lie. So he was very guilty of the cover-up, and the cover-up is worse than the actual crime itself. Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I don't see that the cover-up is worse than the crime. I think the crime is treason.
Right.
I think this is treason. Like high crimes and misdemeanors, there's a penalty for treason. It's the ultimate penalty. It's corporal punishment. This is it. It's a finale. Sabotaging the campaign in 2015, 2016. That's really bad, but this continued up and it's still continuing right now with Merrick Garland going after. It's like Biden has stacks and stacks. He's got boxes over at the University of, what is that? The University of Delaware. That's where he's got all of his private records, right?
I'm not sure.
University of Delaware. And you've got all the Chinese influence over there. It's like a library. Check out what you want. It's a completely insecure. In the garage, where hunters in and out of there, and they're not showing the logbooks of who's coming and going. It's proven that Biden has information, classified information. He did not have the right to have classified information. He was a vice president. He did not have that clearance. And so they're still continuing it today to go after Trump, after President Trump. So once Donald Trump was president, all of these things were treasonous acts meant to remove him from office, the duly elected president of the United States. I mean, this is the continuation. There is no difference. And we have that beautiful, damning video of Barack Obama. He was asked the question about, wouldn't it be great if you could serve a third term? And he just kind of posits, Michelle and I, we've often said, wouldn't it be great if I could be president? And the Michelle thing is not, I added that. Wouldn't it be great if I could, maybe sit in the basement, maybe with an earpiece and kind of direct things from my basement? Yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, this is literally what's going on with this Biden character, with his earpiece, with his skin suit mask, with his note cards, call on this person, all the friendlies, and not taking any questions and shaking hands with nobody and just wandering off somewhere and taking children into the White House, like a little Hansel and Gretel. I mean, it's absurd, dude. It's treasonous. So no, I will disagree. I don't think the cover up is worse than the crime. I think the crime is treason, and I think there's an ultimate penalty to be paid for treason. I don't think it. I just read it in the code book. Treason has a consequence. So if the alphabet agencies are corrupt, who provides the consequence? Where do we turn to for a redress of our grievances, Blake?
That's a good question, because we're going to have to change a few things and get rid of some of the bad people in these federal agencies that had anything to do with this. That's really the only way, and I'm not sure how that happens, but at least we've taken the House, so perhaps there will be some changes put forth. We do have Jim Jordan vowing scrutiny of the Durham report findings, threatening to cut FBI funding and reopen Hillary Clinton investigation.
Yes.
They had like
Hillary and her private servers. Where is this? You talk about risking national security. That was the ultimate. Like, they project everything that they are onto President Trump and the Republicans. It's grotesque. So Jim Jordan, I mean, what do? Do you cut all of the funding for the FBI? Do you disband it? Do you cast all of the remnants of these agencies into the cauldron, and do you smelt it back down? Like, you just toss the ring into the boiling pit? Like, how can you even possibly reform organizations that have become so blatantly, they're arms of the Democrat Party? These are they're supposed to be judges. They're supposed to be referees. They're supposed to be umpires. They're just kind of supposed to be protecting the integrity of the game. They are not that at all. This is the Chicago Black Sox scandal mixed with Watergate, mixed with the most treasonous act you've ever heard of. Who do you turn to then? If you're the police, who will police the police? I don't know. Coast Guard? Who do you got left? Tribunals? Military? The UN?
Yeah.
Aliens? Help! What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah.
Who do you turn to if the Supreme Court won't take these cases? I mean, it's a weaponized arm of the Democrat Party. And the Democrats don't make things better when they get involved. Name me one thing Democrats have made better, Blake, by their participation in the past 20 years. Something the Democrats get involved with and they make it better.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I know it hasn't not been done under the Biden administration, that's for sure. I'm sure there were a few good things that happened under Obama. However, it's been a while, but I'm not saying that there weren't, but they definitely went, they shifted things way off to the radical leftists and the social justice warrior stuff. So there were some problems, but that's not to say that, there weren't a couple of, victories here and there. But it was a pretty awful administration coming off of another terrible administration with the neocons. So after they ran things into the ground and got us into all those wars, then Obama comes in and the hope and change that wasn't. And he was just a kind of another covert puppet of the deep state and didn't really do the things that we sent him there for. Or other people, I did not vote for him. But if I was going to vote for somebody this year, might be a real Democrat, one of the real liberals, and this would be the RFK Jr., who's slamming the political weaponization of the FBI to destroy a sitting president. Actually, this is probably going into another topic, Brian, but it's kind of blurring those two together. And it's just to say the matrix of lies that was used by a weaponized FBI in an attempt to destroy a sitting president That was him responding to journalist Matt Taibbi's reporting on the Durham report, which effectively exonerated President Trump once and for all from bogus charges of Russian collusion, concluding that the FBI had no grounds at all to open an investigation. So that's what what RFK Jr. is saying. No partisan skirmish. It's about political weaponization of the FBI to destroy a candidate and then a sitting president. Matrix of lies.
So Robert Kennedy Jr. is obviously the leading candidate in the Democrat Party for the 2024 election, right?
I think he was already polling at something like 20%, which is staggering. That's pretty amazing. And it's going to only go up, I would assume, as people are going to fall.
Well, that's one way to look. He's also polling as low as DeSantis. That's another way to say it.
Well, I don't know. I think the Democrats are freaking out. They're in trouble, and they know it because they've got old, washed-up Biden and have anybody else. There's Marianne Williamson, and then there's RFK Jr., who's coming out swinging, and he's very much doing the populist thing like Trump is. So that's going to be a problem for the Democrats, and they've already gotten rid of the debates. They can't watch Joe get crushed again, so they're just going to run another campaign from his basement.
Did you have any particular quotes you wanted to get to from RFK Jr. from this article about slamming?
Yeah, I already have. That's the matrix of lies and the weaponized FBI. Yeah. So covered that. So it's just good to see him out there, and he should know how the power of the deep state that took out both of his father and his uncle. He's already said, it was the CIA most likely that took out his uncle, and he's been involved in this game for a long time. He's been fighting a lot of very powerful people, so it's great to see him running.
So there's that age-old question, who died and made you king? So it's like, who died and made the CIA king? Well, both the Kennedys, right? I mean, is that when the official coup of the United States actually happened? Was it, November 3rd? Was it 1963? Like, when was the U.S. overthrown? There's that theory that we never have been a sovereign country since the founding of the country. We've just been a corporation. We've been an offshoot of, Great Britain and holding companies and Rothschilds. And, you go down the rabbit hole. Has America ever really been free? I don't know, Blake. I mean, how do we unpack this? Because it sure feels like a hostile takeover has happened. And it seems like the bad guys are currently sitting in the chairs that used to be held by the good people.
Yeah, there's a few major events. One of them would be, 1913 and the Federal Reserve and Woodrow Wilson, and that set up and having a central. And then we got into World War I. But of course, when they assassinated the president right in front of everybody and covered it up and blamed it on a patsy, that was November 22nd, 1963. Yeah, and then eventually got his LBJ to take us into Vietnam like a good boy, unlike JFK. But there's a lot of reasons they wanted to take out JFK. But that was a major turning point as well. Nixon pulling us off the gold standard, 1971. There's a lot of these issues, and then things got really bad after 9/11 and the endless war on terror. And then Obama took over, and then kind of brought us into globalism, the United Nations, and social justice warrior, and nonstop climate change BS like Al Gore. So we've been taken over, and then we had a populist Trump defy all odds. Won despite the fact that he was being spied on. Still won, and then they messed with his campaign for 2 years with the bogus investigation with the Mueller, knowing full well that it was all lies, and tried to pass it on over the American people. And then, as far as I'm concerned, in 2020, it seemed like he should have won in a landslide, but for some reason didn't. But I'm allowed to question
An absolute landslide, the biggest landslide since what was that? Mondale, right?
1984. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are the predictions I made. America was burning under Democrat leadership. The chaos. They were fomenting it. They were lying about everything important. There's no way America could do something so stupid. That's what I thought. That's where I came in on all of this. I was pretty certain it was going to be a landslide. It was going to be almost every single state.
It started out well, and all of a sudden they stopped counting. And they said, "Oh, just don't worry, it'll come back tomorrow. Everything will be fine." And it was not fine. They found a lot of extra things to put it over the top and changed the course of history, perhaps. So big spikes.
Awesome.
Big spikes.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. Let's hit the next topic, sir. I don't know what else.
80 million. That is verified. That is a fact.
That is very impressive. 81 million completely legitimate votes. Honk, honk. All right. So from the Barack Obama files, here we go with another one from his awesome administration, working through his doofus puppet, Joe Biden. Once again, the biggest threat is white supremacy. Sure it is. There's pterodactyls in every grocery store. They're at the post office. Go out for your mail. There's pterodactyls. Pterodactyls in the pantry. Pterodactyls in the garage. Pterodactyls in the shed. Pterodactyls in the sky. Yes, they want you to believe that there are white supremacists everywhere. And Nazis. We're hunting Nazis. So let's talk about this story. This is nowhere near the lead story. This is such a half-baked, ridiculous. Anyway, Let's walk through the details of this. Blake, do you agree or disagree that a white supremacist Nazi crashed their truck into the White House?
I am going to disagree. And yes, I thought this was going to be the top story. When I first woke up and I first opened Twitter to look at the news, this was the first thing that came up. And it was the leftists melting down. They always emotionally react to things. They never wait for any facts to come in. And they love to assume that anything that goes wrong has got to be because of some kind of white supremacist, Nazi fascist, Trump supporter, usually. So let me pull up a few of them. This was one of the funny ones I saw, and it's from Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, saying another right-wing extremist tried to kill the president last night, denying...
Hold on. Wait, hold on. The president, okay. Yep. President Trump is in Mar-a-Lago. This Biden character, he's in Delaware almost all the time, right?
He's there often, probably on the weekends.
Okay. All right. So he may have been at that property. I doubt it. He's in his nursing home somewhere eating canned bananas like you give to a toddler. He's like, remember when he started sucking on Jill Biden's finger? Wasn't that a thing? You remember seeing that video with Joe Biden?
Perhaps. I've seen a lot of like ice cream videos or what have you.
Yeah, I just envision him eating like banana pudding or something. Okay, so this is a white supremacist. That's a white guy, is what the story is?
Well, this is Luke Rogowski calling it out and laughing at it, because this is the pattern. That's why I said the leftists always jump to conclusions. And every time there's a supposed terrorist attack, so a man drove a U-Haul truck at the White House and got smashed up into the barricades and really didn't do anything. But the leftists, of course, wanted to jump to the conclusion and say, well, here it is. It's another right-wing extremist tried to kill the president last night, denying that the right wing enables and encourages extremism is absurd. 28% of Republicans think it's time for political violence. And lo and behold, we have nonstop political violence from the right. And to which Luke Brodowski says, oh, yeah, here's the face. Here it is. And this is where we're getting the update. It's a 19-year-old man, Sai Varshith Kandula from St. Louis suburb, driving a U-Haul that rammed into White House barriers with a Nazi flag. And they even did they staged a photo op right here.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like a Nazi to me. What's the guy's name? What's his ethnicity? Where's he from? India? Pakistan?
He's from East Indian, I do believe. But he was from a suburb in St. Louis, so he could be a Native American, or an American who was born here. I'm not actually sure if he was from India or not, but his parents probably are. But yeah, internet users were suspect. They found the truck had a Nazi flag, too convenient for Joe Biden and the FBI's narrative of a dreaded white supremacist threat. And yeah, here it is. This is all of us, waking up. Here we go, looking for a good false flag to distract anybody. And then you saw this one, DC Drano. Here it is, showing this out. Here's the driver's license photo of the man. It's interesting to see Donald Trump Jr. posted this. You would think with the amount of free time the feds have available, since they're not focused on actual crime, maybe they would actually do a better job creating fake crimes and fake hate. And Matt Wallace of Daily Wire said this. So you're telling me a guy with a Nazi flag and an empty U-Haul truck randomly plowed into a White House barricade at low speeds, then gave up immediately and got arrested, and the FBI laid out the flag in front of the truck for the perfect photo op. So there it is. It's so sad, but I know that a lot of the leftists, they love to believe this stuff. They want to believe it. But the problem is they keep getting fooled over and over. So this is another BS story, so they can smear their political opposition. Here's I think the last story I had from Information Liberation. So yes, more of the same. I don't think there's any new information that I'm aware of, but I love the stage photo ops, kind of like when they did it at when they did the Mar-a-Lago raid, and they showed Trump just like he had classified documents just scattered around his office. It's total BS, but it's red meat for their base, who loves to.
But their base are vegan,
right?
It reminds me of this. I wanted to, as soon as you started trying to discuss, is he Indian? Is he this? Is he that? I'm reminded of this scene. It's one of my favorites from Much Apu About Nothing from The Simpsons. Oh, where'd it go? I just had it.
Get us the copyright strike, are you?
Yes, hopefully. So Lisa, this is the one where Apu has to go through the naturalization, takes the test, like you're supposed to do. Lisa goes, Apu, in a way, all Americans are immigrants, except Native Americans. Homer goes, yeah, Native Americans like us. Lisa goes, no, I mean American Indians. Apu says, like me. No, I mean, it's such a great misdirection. It's such a great back and forth. One of my favorites of all time. But I'm definitely reminded of this goofball, likely Fed group called the Patriot Front. They were using U-Haul trucks. That was their big thing. Was that Iowa, Idaho, something that starts with an I?
It was Idaho. It was Coeur d'Alene. Yeah.
And so they were all in the back of a U-Haul, and somebody happened to tip them off. It's okay. And then here's another U-Haul. So the next Fed surrection is going to be brought to you by U-Haul. Like, are they paying for the publicity? And like, no publicity is bad publicity. How does U-Haul feel about the Feds doing that? And I guess we're just assuming that the Feds are doing this, but I mean, you could also believe this is a totally organic, legitimate thing, or you could kind of think to the Gretchen Whitmer case and realize that most of the people who are committing the acts They're the people who are on government payroll just trying to entrap other people committing acts. So they got to convince them to commit other acts and go, ha, look at the thing we saved you from that we created.
Right.
It's kind of like Ray Epps. It's kind of like January 6th, right?
Yeah, there's more of this stuff. So now we've got some, I guess, 19-year-old who thought he was going to get to the White House, just ram his truck there, go from Missouri, take a road trip up to D.C., and then he was just going to, I don't know, smash into the White House. It's insane. I don't know.
It
so
doesn't make any sense.
Either a wind-up toy or it's mental illness. But even then, you would think that this doesn't make any sense.
Was it an empty U-Haul truck? Was there anything in it?
Well, it's got the Nazi. Yeah,
oh,
it wasn't,
of course.
Like it was.
I'm packing for a big trip today. Better bring my one item. It's my trusty flag from 1930s Germany. Like from this Indian guy from St. Louis. Okay.
No fuel for like Oklahoma City. Where
Oklahoma City, that's a whole other topic.
Right.
If we want to go down that rabbit hole too.
No, but I'm just saying that was a big moving truck full of explosives.
Yeah.
This one, as far as I know, did not have anything. I don't know what was in it.
One singular flag. Dreamer Ultra puts in here in the comment section. By the way, leave your comments. We love them. Says, is it me? Or are these news stories getting more and more ridiculous? Like they're testing us for some reason. Another Homer quote. Homer said, yeah, it's like when God teased Moses in the desert. Marge goes, tested Homer. God tested Moses in the desert. But he said he was teasing him. And that kind of works. It's kind of the same thing. So anyway, we'll keep our eyes peeled on this ridiculous story because, Obama in the basement, we got to keep doubling down on white supremacy. That's the biggest threat, domestic threat in all the universe for America. All right. Anyway,
absolutely.
A couple more stories, and we are gonna get out of here. Oh, here we go. Go to the thing. Click on the thing. I'm clicking it. It's not working. Here we go. Yay! Made it work. All right, now here's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I was just in there shopping, and Blake, I mean, to a libertarian-leaning human such as myself, I don't know. I don't really identify with. Definitely not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I just somewhere libertarian-ish. Look, man, do what you want. Kind of do your own thing. That's whatever. But like, and I'm as a salesman, just a natural salesman, as a people person, and someone who's been in that area. I know what I'm being sold to. Now, look, if I'm going to a store, I know that they're trying to sell me things. But I don't think selling me sexuality is something that I'm really signing up for when I'm trying to like pick up my sundries. I got to get some cat food. I had to get some tissues. I had to get some cleaning products, just random stuff. Maybe a couple boxes. I had to get a couple things from Target. Holy crap, man. I walk into this place. I mean, it's everywhere. So tell me about what this story is here. I saw you put this on the sheet today, so I'm very curious who's saying what about it because, the Bill Clinton thing of the 90s was like, don't ask, don't tell. It's like, okay, well, it's none of your business what people are doing, and whatever you're doing, keep it to yourself. Some people would complain that that forces a stigma of you got to be quiet about who you are and you can't live loud and proud. Now, pride is one of those 7 deadly sins. Pride is not a great energy to have. I don't know why this became the word that everybody's using because it's not a good look to be really proud of anything. I'm proud of my skin. Why would someone be proud of their skin? I'm proud of who I'm banging. Are we in high school? Why are we talking about who we're banging? Who cares who you're banging? But I'm super proud of who I bang every day. Bro, enough. We don't talk about this, and unless you're on the Howard Stern show, like, why are we talking about who we're banging? So but there was that energy of just like, be who you are, do what you're doing, and just don't cram this stuff into the workplace and into the military. Like, don't be bringing your personal stuff into there, because it's a separation. Man, it's very obvious that like there is an energy to push. And oh my God, we got June coming up. Is this going to be a whole month of this? My
Yeah,
God.
I thought it was now, and it's like there's so much stuff going on.
It's nonstop, Blake. It never stops. It's every week. 52 weeks is I'm so proud of who I'm banging week. Every single week now. Anyway, what is this? What is this particular story about?
Okay, well, let's dig into a couple of. So I've got a video too showing a woman that's walking into Target, much like you probably did. So let's pull this up here. We've already got this is out of Fox News saying Target holding an emergency meeting over the LGBTQ merchandise in some stores to avoid the quote Bud Light situation. So yeah, there's a lot of this rainbow merchandise, and apparently it's right in your face as soon as you walk into the store, much like you were just saying, Brian. So let me pull up this tab here, and let's discuss. Brian, let me know if you can hear this.
Here we go. My queer year. There's cards for the gay people in your life. Welcome to Target. The front door is right there. So we are like 10 steps.
Yep, exactly.
It's all by
before there is an entire
very first thing, right.
pride display for your children to see.
Yeah.
Okay, these are like naked people on shirts. I was curious where the straight section is. So like shirts that say like straight pride and like hetero is hack. Super cis, you guys have like, so there's gay clothes, but you have like specific straight clothes for straight people.
Well, I won't go into that. She's playing the other side, but it is pretty shocking.
What did that woman say? Did she say anything? Did she?
It's got to be so awkward because she knows she's on film and they're asking that, and it's not like the employees are in on this. This is a corporate decision, and it's the same display all over the country. So this was a executive decision somewhere. So.
Oh, I was just curious where the straight section was. I wanted to buy some gifts for my kids.
Can you not record me, please?
I'm recording her. I'm recording her.
Oh, she's recording me.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm done.
Okay. Where's the straight section for straight kids?
Indoctrination of kids, and you're like behind.
Like, I don't agree with the straight section either, but they should not be having this on display at Target. It's really.
Wait, you don't agree with the straight section? Like, why? Where does this end? Why is there some things that are it's okay?
Well, there
to
shouldn't be a gay section either.
This
doesn't make any sense. So, and
but since there is, where is the other side?
Everybody
gets a month.
Everything else, but this is all like the pride display, but it has no place for kids. And as far as the pride thing goes, I don't care if they have a pride thing going on. That makes no difference to me. I think it's great that they can have their own exclusive little festival. But I mean, they sell their own shirts, so it feels like corporate Target is getting in on their action. When people that want to go to the Pride Parade, then they can buy Pride merchandise there. But I also don't think that's a place for kids. So there's an issue there. So, and it doesn't belong there. So there's going to be a backlash, and now it's not going to be anywhere probably near as bad as say Bud Light. But Target is under fire, and it gets worse. There's actually to find out who's behind. They've actually put let's check this one out because we did cover this a little bit last Thursday, but they're putting this merch in the Target stores. But it turns out that that's creating some of this merch is a satanic supporter who wants to eradicate critics of transgenderism. So I don't know, this is some creep they found on Instagram, and Target. Connection between radical gender ideology and Satanism even more obvious when the retailer chose to sell Satan supporters trans merch. So that's when it's coming up. So the recent collaboration between Target and this UK-based brand have Pralin and its designer Eric, who's a self-proclaimed gay trans man. And so this is it's a sweatshirt emblazoned with a caduceus wrapped in a cure transphobia, not trans people. It's a rainbow UFO tote bag. It says "Too queer for here," and a pink "We belong everywhere" fanny pack. So people are just calling this out. Like, why are you selling this weird, creepy merchandise from a weird, creepy Satanist? So says Satan respects pronouns. The t-shirts, the gayest stickers.
Oh,
Here he
God.
is. Look at that. He seems nice and normal. Why would you let this guy design merchandise and sell LGBT stuff to kids? It's like it's like one thing to have a little section if you want to have a pride thing. You know, I was in it was just like a Walmart a couple months ago looking for a I can't remember. I forget what holiday I was trying to buy for, and I couldn't find any shirts, so I ended up getting a St. Patty's shirt. They were just like a small little subsection. It was just like a 4 racks of shirts, and that was it. But I mean, they've got a full display of all kinds of stuff, and it's directed at kids. Like, that is so creepy and weird.
It's not a full display. It's several full displays. It's frigging everywhere. You walk and remember, Target, I mean, they were heavily behind pushing the Michelle Obama book and the Barack Obama book and all sorts of, I mean, that company has made it clear who they want in their store and who they do not want in their store. You know darn well that Target was a preferred shopping place for us in Los Angeles. It was proximal. It was very convenient. Up until there was a shooting in the parking lot, by the way. That made it a little dicey. But yeah, by the way, in the comments here, Dreamer Ultra saying, okay, so Anheuser-Busch and now Target, I'm making a list, as are many others. What other companies are on there? I put in here that the woke company list is growing. You can add Ford and Miller Lite. Who, off the top of your head, who would you add to the list of companies that are deciding to make their ideology more important than their brand?
I mean, that's a good group right there.
Target, Bud Light, Ford, Miller Lite.
I think Coors Light also did something, and who else? I know there's got to be more, but off the top of my head, I think that's
fine. Well, and Frankie here is saying Target sucks anyway. I like Target. I know it's a little overpriced, but I've like I said, for 15 years, I almost exclusively shopped at Target for those types of things.
Target way better than Walmart.
Right across the street from where I live.
But the nearest, I don't live by a Target anymore. So I used to go there, and I used to get the red card where you get like the 5% discount. I hate Walmart, but I just happen to have a big Walmart nearby. So I do my shopping there. It's not worth it for me to go out of my way for Target. And I especially wouldn't, now if they're selling this, if they're going woke.
No, they're not going. They've been there. That's what I'm saying. It's been this way for a long time. Headquartered in Minneapolis, one of the woke epicenters of the world. You know that as well, Blake. All right. So yeah, I like this story because I went in there and I was just I'm getting tired of being hit in the face with this stuff. I don't care who you're banging. It doesn't make you awesome because you're hooking up with somebody that you love. That's between you and that person. That's your thing. I don't need to hear about your conquests all the time. It's a nonstop full court press. Once again, back to the sports analogies. It's relentless. There's no month. It's every single day of the year. It's every week of the year. But that lady in there, it's very interesting. Where is white History Month? Where is straight pride merchandise? Who's going to say there's something wrong with that? If one thing is okay, huh?
Would you buy straight merchandise? Would you buy white pride? Yeah.
I mean, everything has become so absurd, Blake. I mean,
That would bug me too. If I saw white pride or straight pride, like that would bother me too, but not as much as this, because it's not, geared towards kids, and just kind of a weird, I mean, there's nothing. I don't have an issue with the gay community whatsoever, but I think it's they were repressed for a really long time, and then they had the Pride Festival, and that was great. And that got kind of debaucherous, which is, fine. So just keep the kids out of there. I don't care. But now it's like a whole month, and now it's, lines of merchandise, and now it's just being shoved in our face all the time. Now it's kind of losing, now it's becoming a problem. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I mean, when you have the choice to go to a Target or a Walmart, which one?
Usually
you can pick
Target,
Bud Light, or
right.
anything else.
I don't know, because I just think it's a clean. Walmart. Some of the Walmarts I've been to are pretty, not my favorite kind of environment or place. Some of the Targets have been pretty nice, but they seem to do a better job of keeping their stores in better shape.
Have you ever been to like a Ross in a crazy area, like a Ross department store, and it's just like, it's almost like if you took a snow globe and shook it up and just flipped it upside down, and all the inventory just landed everywhere. That's really what Ross feels like. And I've been to a couple of trash Walmarts. I think the worst Walmart was in Vegas. I think I was in Vegas at a Walmart.
Yeah.
Holy crap! It was the worst shopping experience I may have ever had. But yeah, people have a choice and where to spend their dollars. So we'll see where they spend them. All right, final story, and we're going to make our way out of here, sir. Final story. All right, another sports story. Blake, do you agree or disagree that the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence should be invited back to Doyer Stadium? Doyers. Go Doyers. Let's go Doyers.
Well, we actually we did miss an entire story, Brian, but we can get to that. But since we
what did we miss? Oh yeah, okay, sorry. We have the Elon Musk. Yes, we did, and that was in my thread. It's one of the top stories. So we'll buzz through this one, and then we'll make sure we get to that one. Sorry, I did forget about that.
No worries. We'll get the Dodgers apologize and are reinviting the anti-caste Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, the trans nuns, to Pride Night, and.
They apologized to the.
Yeah. I guess they kicked them out and then they brought them back. I wasn't quite sure, but now that I've looked at the story, like a Pride Night at Dodgers Stadium, and again, I don't care as long as you're not forcing the players to wear, Pride uniforms,
which they are.
Yeah, which they are. Then I don't,
In hockey, that's been a big issue in hockey.
So that bothers me. Otherwise, I don't care. I think it's great to have a Pride Night if people want to participate in that. But what I do have an issue with is when this is pretty trashy. So I guess these sisters, they dress up as like nuns, but they're LGBT trans nuns. And it's kind of a disrespectful thing to the church. Not that I'm a religious guy. I think this is embarrassed.
Are you saying kind of disrespectful? Yeah. What if they were trans imams? Where are the trans imams? Yeah. You know what? I'll bring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence back when they have the balls, yes, the balls, to bring out the trans imams. And let's see how that community appreciates your sacrilege. Let's see how the Muslim community feels about your trans imams. If you're just going to take pot shots at the Catholic Church, okay. Yeah, that's low-hanging fruit. But where are the trans Hasidic Jews? Where are the trans? You're everything's a stunt, right? This is all about the publicity stuff.
Right.
So where are the rest of them? It's like that lady said, where are the straight t-shirts? Okay, well, you're going to do one, but not the other. Where are the ones that you're going to be called an anti-Semite or you're going to get beheaded by a nut job? How about try that? That's where you'd show some real courage in my book, Blake.
Yeah, let's see it. Those people would be in a lot of trouble. They'd be hunted down, but it's not going to happen with this. And I went to Catholic school for 4 years. I don't agree. Not really a huge fan of that necessarily, but I have a certain level of respect for that. I don't think that they should be. I don't like to see this. They're trying to, this is terrible that they're putting this out or mocking Jesus or mocking an entire religion so that they can shove their LGBT stuff around and work around for the cameras. I think that's pretty disrespectful. But again, I don't care. Have the parade. Have some, respectful way.
I think the Jesus hate is
Yeah,
real, dude. There is something real about like the visceral reaction that some people get to Jesus Christ. It really is like getting dunked into a steaming bat of holy water. It's like hydrochloric acid to a miscreant. I don't know. Like there is just a rage about hating Jesus.
Right. I'm not a religious person, but if it comes down to Jesus and Satan, I am 100% on Team Jesus. But this is sickening. How do you hate on the guy? I don't get it either. Oh, they're freaking out, but then they're gonna dress up like satanic nuns and try to mess up the kids. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's just a sick culture. But yeah, great comment here, right? Frankie Brown. Yeah, they're trying to divide everybody any way they can. Of course, it's the divide and conquer, and that they've been doing a terrific job at that for a long time. And it's sad. Yeah, so they actually have some decency. Dodger Stadium, they say, hey, okay, let's have a pride night, but this is not very tasteful. Let's not have these people coming in here and mocking Jesus and the Catholic religion or just any Christianity, what have you. And then they're going to go grovel and invite them back. So, keep it in good taste. Keep the stuff away from our kids. Keep the stuff in good taste. And I don't care what they do. So.
But that's not what they're doing. They're actively trying to sell this. And Dreamer Ultra just kind of chiming in on the previous topic. Ever see the crazy enraged individual walking through Walmart screaming at someone on the phone? It always happens. Yeah, there's a whole website called People of Walmart. You ever see that one?
That's why it's a huge difference to me between Walmart and Target because there's seems like a much higher quality, much better atmosphere in Target, and there are some Walmarts that have the craziest people on earth that are there, and it's hilarious on one level to see that, but it is quite the phenomenon. So I really don't like either one, I guess. But hey, you got to pick your one evil or not. You got to have some reasonable prices on some retail goods. You got to pick one or the other, I guess. There isn't no more Kmart's anymore, are there?
Go to Ross.
Come on, dude. How do you go to Ross? I can't believe that place is there. Once in a great while, I guess, if people are looking for some good deal on some secondhand clothing, that is not a place I would want to go. Why not just at least take Kohl's, for God's sakes?
Don't forget your Kohl's cash.
Right.
All right, final story of the day. And we've kept it a minute 29, an hour 29 minutes. Like had it pretty well timed, except for this story. I apologize for leaving this one out, but this is the final one. Speaking of good and evil, here is Elon good or evil? Final story. Blake, would you agree or disagree that Elon Musk is bought and paid for by communist China?
Well,
China.
I need more. I need more evidence, but it's certainly plausible. Yeah. This has actually been put out by Steve Bannon, warning that Elon Musk.
Don't bite the hand that feeds, says
What's
China. That? Well, remember, China warned Elon to not bite the hand that feeds with the Fauci files. We never got the Fauci files. Why is Elon holding those? Why is Kevin McCarthy still holding the J6 footage? Why are these people who are alleged pillars of the freedom community, why are they both withholding relevant information to the public trust, the public good?
Yeah, I thought Elon was also going to kind of tell us what was in our files on Twitter. He's kind of going to open that up and show how people were getting banned or
Well, maybe that World Economic
being said
lady that
about
he
me
hired didn't
internally.
want us to have that information.
Right. So, we've gotten some of the information, not all of it, and they keep pulling back. And is it possible that he's compromised at some level by China? Well, I do not know personally, but I do take Steve Bannon seriously, and he seems to believe that there's something going on there.
So do you have a clip, or do you want to read some of this? Like, what's his takeaway? Like, what is he citing as a reference, or as a reference?
Well, he was on. This is a 40-minute interview, I believe, with Mike Adams of Natural News. So I won't.
Great. Let's play it all, Blake. We're gonna play Inagata Davida, so I can go take a dump, and I'll be back in 15
All right,
minutes.
yeah, let's do it. Sounds like a plan.
That's what the DJs used to do. Did you know that they play Inagata Davida because it's like 11 minutes long, and really they would use it when they'd have to go to the restroom because it was long enough they'd have time and they wouldn't have to.
Oh,
It was a whole thing, but I digress.
It's a great idea, but no, we don't have 3 hours to fill, so we don't need to pull any tricks like that. That would be. We'll think about that for another day. But during the segment, the two, that would be Mike Adams and Steve Bannon, also discussing billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk, who Bannon said bought Twitter as a means of eventually creating a massive AI operation. He also claimed that Musk's electric vehicle company Tesla was funded with Chinese money. And so here's his quote. If he's got some plan or sees it as some cybernetic global brain for humanity, if you see what he's thinking about with Twitter, what he feels he has, combined with the AI of Tesla, understanding that both are fully financed by the Chinese Communist Party, that's never been disclosed and he won't talk about it, we have a problem. So
his funding has never been disclosed and he never talks about it?
Yeah, I guess with how much money that he plopped down on Twitter, I'm not sure if that was partially paid by the Chinese or if that's just the Chinese investing a lot of money into Tesla and using that Tesla money to buy Twitter. I'm not 100% about all of the funding. Bannon would probably know a lot more than this is why he says this is the most dangerous. I believe it's the most dangerous time in global history. The most dangerous time for the human race is just to have that's this merger with the AI and the Federal Reserve and all of the central bank digital currencies. There's multiple things, but it was very interesting to notice that he was critical of Elon. And then when you talk about Neuralink or what have you, or the kind of you could find out a lot about humanity in general by just looking at all the metadata of Twitter and the different patterns and how people think. It's a private company, which is great in one level, because we sort of think we're rescuing it from the deep state, the clutches of the deep state, and empowering free speech and humanity again. But could there be a massive AI operation behind the scenes, the giant cybernetic global brain from humanity, combining with the AI of Tesla and the CCP? That could be problematic, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see an interview with Elon and Steve Bannon. I wonder if he would ever do that show.
I would watch that. That'd be must watch television.
Oh, yeah. We should know. We should have a role. I mean, yeah, it's technically it's all belongs to Elon, and he can do what he wants with it. But I'd like to see this all opened up for us. We shall see. Brian?
Bought and paid for by communist China. Now we obviously know that those cobalt mines and some of the rare earth minerals that are used in the batteries, that China has purchased as many of those as they could. They've tried to buy up all the mines so that they could kind of corner the market with cell phones and batteries. Part of the big green crap deal, whatever it is they're trying to sell. Part of it is all about batteries. Well, and it's being pushed by the Chinese Communist Party because they have cornered the market on all the battery materials. So it's a power play. China's not going to be shutting down their coal-fired power plants. They just want to sell all of us rubes batteries that are going to go bad. They're not going to work all that great in the severe temperatures of the cold and the hot. They're going to have limited range, limited distance. It's going to take a long time to stop and fuel up, if you will, to transport. It's trackable and traceable. It's like, I just kind of like gasoline. Keep it there. Just keep finding ways to, make that cleaner, make that more efficient, make that better. And if we could bring back that water-powered engine, how about that? That sounds like a real thing I'm interested in. You hear those stories about Nikola Tesla, and he created free energy, but Edison was like, well, you can't charge per use on that, so that's not going to work. So we can't AC DC current, and we have to find a way. You can't just put energy out into the universe and then we tap into it and access it for free. We need a meter. We need to know how much to charge for our product. And I don't care about the power and control. I care about the efficiency and the quality of the product. So that's all I got for today, Blake. Thank you for joining us. Tell everybody where to follow you again.
TV's Blake Walley on Twitter or thenextlevelnews.com. And I will have this video up there as well sometime today. The whole archive is all there, previous shows, highlight clips, and more. But yes, thank you so much, Frankie, Dreamer Ultra, and anybody else lurking or watching later. Sorry, one of our channels is shut down for now, but we're expanding out. And we'll continue to keep putting these shows up roughly, every Tuesday and Thursday around 3 p.m. Eastern time, and maybe more.
It might be another rapid fire show on Thursday. It might be another 30-minute spectacular as well. Yes, we like it. We're trying out the quicker formats. All right, Blake, thank you so much. You take care. And for everybody else out there, I want you to go to all these places, all right? So when we get disconnected, go to TheNewAmericanMedia.com. It is a nice archive of our work. Also, YouTube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia, a great archive of our work for the past 12 years. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. On Spotify, The Agree to Disagree Show. Subscribe and like those. On Telegram, TNAM Chat, TNAM for the New American Media, TNAM Chat. That's a good one. And TNAM Official, follow us there. Facebook, we have a group called TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show, in parentheses, TNAM_S, The Agree to Disagree Show. And rumble.com/ I think it's, I don't know, just look up The New American Media and The Agree to Disagree Show. Follow us in all those places. So signing out for everybody out there who gives a crap about what's going on in the world. We appreciate you. We love you. And we'll talk again soon. Take care.